Hello everyone, welcome back. Smothered Run once again with another Shogun 2 online battle, but it's a little bit different flavor. I'm not going to spend too much time talking about setups or doing too much commentary on how the battle goes or anything like that. More, I'm going to focus on the morale system because I know there are still a bunch of new players coming in since the May promotion for Shogun 2 where you got to keep it for free for life. So morale is probably a bigger component to the game than a lot of people realize. Um, sure, charging into the enemy, killing lots of enemy, and you know, racking up the experience for your units is good too. But um, if you can use the game's morale system to work in your favor, you it's a it's a big it's a big advantage if you know how to work it. And to be now full disclosure, sometimes I underestimate the morale system and end up losing battles because I leave an entire flank exposed on purpose, and well, that doesn't always end up well. So I leave it on purpose because sometimes I try to set a trap within my own infantry line, and sometimes that doesn't work. So, anyways, the other thing I'm going to mention is the longer you can keep your cavalry in hiding, or the longer you can keep a trap from springing, even if you're attacking. And in this case, I'm attacking, but I'm doing it the way I want to. I'm not going to do a full frontal charge at my enemy. In this battle here at Usui Pass, I decided to set, instead of in the dead center, I decided to offset myself a little bit to the right. I wanted to have the option to rush the shrine or rush the sword dojo. So because I know I could always rush my cavalry over, especially with being able to deploy them in the trees like this. I could always rush my cavalry over to the workshop if I felt like I needed it, or if my opponent put something, a rather juicy target over there. So instead, I'm going to rush for, send my Yari Samurai to go capture the sword dojo, and then I'm going to set my um, my infantry over in the middle here between these two buildings. Now, when the battle first started and I started rushing my troops to where I wanted them to go, I sort of looked at this long line of infantry, um, and said, if I rush into that in a compact formation or even get up to them close, I'm going to be if I rush at him in a long at that long formation all at once, I'm going to get swallowed up, and eventually, just the sheer numbers advantage that he has will just eat through me. Now, I say numbers advantage. Clearly, that's not his whole army. So he's got a few units just from looking at it in a medium battle. Is this a medium? This was a. I think this was a yeah. This is a medium. Yeah, that's not his whole army. I'm pretty sure he's got more stuff. We're both level twos. Um, I'm sure he's got more units in hiding. So I'm going to keep most of. I'm going to start playing it now because I figured nothing's happened long enough here. So I'm going to send one unit of cavalry out to feint. Based on his setup, I'm going to set one unit of cavalry up to feint like they're going for the workshop. I saw that line of infantry and said, well, instead of coming at him head on, I'm going to turn him 90 degrees so that I can start working on how to take him out while he's turned. And that's really the only way I think of taking that long line. I want to take him from the edge so he globs up, so that my opponent's all globbed up into one big ball, and then my katanas can just cut him down. I can send my attendants in, and even Ashigaru if I need to hold down units, and then I can flank with some of my katanas or my Yari Samurai, or I can hit him with cavalry. But one thing that everyone should keep in mind is that no battle plan ever survives first contact with the enemy. So you can make all the plans you want, you can do all the strategy, you can think of all the strategies you want, but the instant the battle's joined, usually you have to take those plans and throw them out the window. This is a prime example. As I'm rushing my light cavalry out, I notice how he's moving in formation. So his one visible Yari cavalry is going to be sitting out in the open, unprotected by spears, and I could rush him head on with 3 units and probably take him, but instead I see him turning and no one catching up. He's got these spears coming. They've got to work their way around the shrine. So at this point, I could have sent these out sooner while everyone was globbed up around the shrine, but instead I send them out now. Now, you might ask, well, are you going to send all 4 units of cavalry at this one? No. As much fun as that would be, you get to a point of almost diminishing returns. If you slam 2 units, 3 units, 4 units into the same spot, they end up just going to run into themselves. So their entire charge momentum, that charge bonus, will end up not being applied. What I did instead was set my units, send 2 units to this Yari cavalry, but make it look like 3 are going to it. And I'm attacking him with 3 light cavalry and 1 Yari. The Yari cavalry is going out on ambush patrol, and I'm sending them out so that the 2 units are going to sort of overlap as they hit. They're going to hit the whole line. And this third one, so that charge took them down to 17 men, and this one here breaks off and is instead going to go for his general, because again, his spears are moving. There goes the Yari cavalry. The spears are moving, and I'm going to send in 2 units of cavalry against his general. So he's down to 15 in the charge, and then he routs. Now, instead of sending multiple selecting my entire cavalry and telling them to attack 1 individual unit now, I'm going to send 1 cavalry each at 1 unit of bows, and then as soon as they hit, I'm going to tell them to select another one. As soon as they've gotten rid of these, their first unit that they've charged into, I'm going to send them just randomly click into the back of spears, into the back of swords. Well, the only thing I would suggest for this guy to do differently, my opponent to do differently, would be maybe not have the spears in the middle of his line like that. Maybe have them sort of set up on the flanks like he does, but in a way that they can counter a cavalry attack. And now you're just going to see a mass rout. And I mean, my troops are still moving, mostly to come up to screen against this cavalry that he's just revealed. But there goes his entire front line. And I'm pulling these units back to get ready to charge around, and they're going to hit everybody from behind if the battle keeps going. At this point, my opponent texts, "Wow, I've never seen that before," and then concedes defeat. So, and that was all done with 3 light cavalry. They got in behind, unchallenged, and managed to rout an entire line of infantry. And it wasn't all Ashigaru. He had samurai, he had some decent units in there. And while I'm on it, if you want to block a charge, stop the momentum of an entire unit, hitting them head on, taking the charge head on, is usually more catastrophic to the infantry, whereas just because it's mounted cavalry. Whereas if you take the charge on edge, like this unit here, he's going to take if the battle was to continue, he would take 2 units and stop them dead in their tracks, because that's how the cavalry mechanics work. The game mechanics work is when you hit another unit, your momentum stops. Like, you'll see the animations where they'll ride through and knock troops back, but that unit's momentum is effectively stopped. So this 1 unit of samurai, it is going to be getting attacked in the rear. So it will get a morale debuff to that, but it's going to stop 2 units of of cavalry here. There's another unit of swords right here, so that once the cavalry gets pinned down in melee, the swords will cut them to pieces. There's a couple sword attendants running in. Spears are already running over, and then there's some Yari samurai here ready to take out anything that gets through. Plus the general, my general here has a buff already to melee defense. Plus capturing the sword dojo has a melee upgrade. So I'm not too worried about taking a charge in this case. Mostly because I see it coming and I've got support around. I was entirely ready to charge his lines, but getting that much freedom of mobility behind them, behind my opponent, really meant that all I needed to do was just get ready to take on the cavalry when it came. So morale is a big thing in this game, and if you're caught unawares, you can end up losing your line. So, and like I said, this has been done to me quite a few times. So anyways, I hope you enjoyed, hope you learned something. My opponent didn't really do anything wrong, other than maybe not as quick on his micro with his spears as he could have been. And other than that, though, there's not much else to say. So have a good one.